Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's webinar. Um, Jen, if you'll give me a thumbs up if you can hear me here. Looks like Carolyn is joining. We're going to get started in just a second here, guys. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And there we have Carolyn. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining. We're going to get this thing kicked off. I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll get rolling. Let's see here. All right, that's top 3. All right, you should be able to see IXN here. Is that what you guys are seeing, Carolyn? Perfect. All right. Well, welcome everybody. For those of you who have joined us before for our webinars, you probably noticed that we've got a new software. We switched over to Zoom from Webinar Ninja. We had a lot of requests for people to join us via dial-in, and Webinar Ninja didn't have that. So now you can all dial into the webinar and listen in if you're on the road or wherever you all are. So bear with us if there's any technical difficulties. This is our first webinar with the new software, so hopefully we'll make sure that we answer everybody's questions as we go, and we have a great webinar today. You can see Carolyn and I both got dressed up nice for you guys, and if we're going to be answering questions as we go, so feel free to ask them, and our marketing rep there, Jen, she'll stop us and ask us those questions if we need to answer them at the time. But if your question is if I'm wearing pants, the answer is definitely no. Hope everyone's staying healthy and enjoying this work from home situation, this quarantining, spending more time with your families. And we here at IXN have not had a problem. We were able to transition really easily to working from home, and our stuff is all digital and hosted on cloud servers and things like that. So really, if anything, we've actually been growing. We've seen a lot more people want to adopt digital processes and digital platforms like the IXN platform that allow you to work remote, work from anywhere. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We actually had a lot of people sign up for this one. So we're happy that you all could join us. Again, feel free to ask questions along the way. We're actually going to have a little section at the end where if you want to give some input, we'd love to hear it. So there should be a button there where you can raise your hand. If you raise your hand at that time, we'll let you know when we're doing that. We can unmute you, and we'd love to hear from you if you want to give some input here at the end. Well, let's jump in. My name is Lasse Young. If you don't know me, I am the Chief Revenue Officer here at IXN. I imagine most of you have seen my face at some point. I am the pretty face of IXN for the most part, at least for the brokerage side. I go to most of the industry conferences and things like that. You can see it here in quarantine, my beard's gotten a little longer than it is here in my headshot here. And I'll let Carolyn introduce yourself. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Thank you. Yes, my name's Carolyn, and if you're a current client with us, you've probably worked with me. I'm over all the customer support here. So if you ever have questions or you have a new product and you're onboarding, I'll be your point of contact, getting all these set up and making sure you're having a successful experience here at IXN.
Yeah, and if any of you have worked with IXN before, I'm sure there's some people on this webinar who are current customers, some who maybe have considered IXN or aren't current customers. We pride ourselves a lot in our customer support, and Carolyn is really the backbone of our customer service and customer support here and our fulfillment. So she'll be sharing a little bit with you guys today. Well, let's jump in. So here are the items we're going to cover today. We're going to start with e-applications powered by Paperless Solutions Group. So this is our e-app solution that we have baked into our product. We partnered with a really awesome company named Paperless Solutions Group for the filling of the forms and the signature process. So we'll go through and show you kind of how you utilize that on the IXN platform. We've found that through the way things currently work, with quarantine, with COVID-19, and people working remote, people not being able to be there in person, people being very nervous about having people come to them. This solution really could solve a lot of your agents' problems in giving them an option to sell over the phone. We'll talk a little bit about strategy at the end of the webinar, but this is a way to essentially transform your business to be more of almost like a direct marketer, or doing phone sales, doing digital sales, things like that. Then we're going to talk about our direct and integrated e-tickets. So this is a short form where it goes to a call center usually of some sort. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can utilize that to be successful. We're going to talk about quote actions. Quote actions are something that people a lot of times don't even know that IXN has to offer. And so we'll talk a little bit about what that is and how you can benefit from that. We're going to talk about the dashboard, which is kind of the backbone of all of our products. That's where everything's managed from. That's where you set your settings, all those types of things for agents and for admins. And then we're going to talk a little bit about strategy to encourage agent usage, and also strategy around just you getting the most out of what you're paying for with IXN. If you're a paying customer, if not, give me a call. Love to help you. And so ways for those of you who are current customers, ways to get better usage out of your platforms. So those are kind of those are the items that we're going to talk about today. And I do want to note before we really jump into those, we're doing this webinar, right? And this is the way a lot of things are now. We're using Zoom. There's a lot of different softwares out there you can use to run webinars. There's GoToWebinar, Webinar Ninja, the other one we were using before. There's Zoom. We're really happy with it so far. There's tons of them out there. You can probably just go to webinar, search webinar softwares, and you can see probably 50 of them. But many of you maybe haven't had a lot of experience using webinars. Traditionally, maybe you sold in person a lot, or you're more of a face-to-face type of person. And with today's world, that just isn't as feasible. And probably moving forward for a good amount of time, because there's talks about how maybe in the fall we could see a spike again with changing weather in COVID, and we could have more quarantining. So we just don't know what the future looks like. So what we've done is we've gotten very good at running these webinars, and we've learned some things from them. So we actually have another webinar to teach you how to do webinars. So we're going to be doing that. Jen, if you want to unmute yourself real quick, what was the date for that webinar that we're doing that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So that will be next Tuesday.
All right, next Tuesday. Same time, 11 a.m. next Tuesday. So we're going to go through in that next webinar and teach you how to run webinars, give you some tips and tricks. Even if you've done it before, maybe we'll teach you something new. So feel free to join us. It's just something we're doing. It's not pushing our products in that one. It's just, hey, we've learned a lot doing these. I'm on sales calls every day doing these types of screen shares. And for you, connecting with your agents, especially for the brokerages who have your downline agents, and you want to connect with them, this is a great way to have this face-to-face interaction like we're having here, and be able to share content, teach them how to use these platforms that we're going to talk about today, and really just kind of engage with them while quarantining and everything that's going on. So feel free to join us for that one. We sent out an invite, I believe, this morning to that, and we're going to be sending out another one that'll list. We're going to be doing some other webinars as well coming up. They're a little more tentative right now, but keep an eye out for those. We're trying to bring as much value to you guys from our sales and marketing team here, and support, and try to help you run your business and give you some tips and tricks for that. So keep that in mind. So let's move on. So just a quick overview. I'm actually going to spend less time on this than I usually do. The IXN platform, here are a lot of the things that you can do with the IXN platform. What we're going to focus on today is the middle of this, the apply piece. We'll talk about tickets, full applications digitally, so we call them e-apps, and then traditional. We're not going to go so much into traditional PDFs because that is a little tougher right now, right? And then we're going to also talk about another one, which is more a custom solution where you can build your own custom solution into the platform. But overall, the IXN platform allows you to do a whole bunch of different things. You know, there's multi-carrier quoting, multi-product quoting. We added final expense 6 months ago to our term and GUL platform. We've got more on the way, so we're working on some other things as well around long-term care, annuities, disability, stuff like that. We've got different calculators and analyzers. We've got product information in our platform. Underwriting guides, lots of different things in our platform itself. We do consumer website quoting, so like lead generation type tools. We do website development, and then also we have our API platform, which is we have different APIs for different things. Forms APIs, life quote APIs. That's more if you're looking to build your own front-end user interface, like you have your own development team and your own engineers. And so we do facilitate that pretty well. We work a lot within the LIDMA community. As a matter of fact, we won an award for one of the processes that we're going to talk about today within LIDMA. It was a People's Choice Innovation Award for 2019. So our process that we built with Protective that we're expanding to other carriers won that award this year at LIDMA. So yeah, so that's kind of the quick overview. If you want to get more details on this, happy to set up a time to do a private demo and dig into any of these products further. Big thing with IXN is pretty much everything we do is cross-platform. So we try to make everything available on mobile and desktop, and you know, we have a lot of pieces built into that for analytics. We easily integrate with third parties. If you were on our Smart Office webinar, which we're going to be doing a follow-up to that as well, you saw how we're now deeply ingrained into the Smart Office platform for agency management and CRM. We're open to doing others as well and doing more. So if there's a specific CRM platform that you're working with that you'd like to see us integrated with, we'd love to hear about that. And then, of course, everything we have has APIs built into it. So we're very developer friendly for customization and things that you want to do. Great. Well, I'm going to let Carolyn share her screen here. So I'm going to stop my screen share. And Carolyn's going to take over on the screen share, and she's going to talk a little bit about some of the different ways you can utilize our platform for electronic submission.
Thank you. Hopefully you can see my screen now.
Definitely.
Oh, great. So like Lassa said, thank you for that. I'll be covering some of these application options you have available to you on our platform, starting with the electronic application and signature, or the e-app, powered by Paperless Solutions Group. With that, this is pretty new still, recently launched, and so what it lets you do is it's like filling out the full long application electronically, and it also allows you to send an e-signature option via email to your client, and so it's all done online. It doesn't need to be face-to-face. The questions on these forms are reactive, so if you answer one question, like maybe if like you're a US citizen, and it'll give you more options to follow up with that question, and it's just like helps make the process faster through since those are pretty long applications. Along with that, you can save where you've made progress and then pick it up again by logging into the IXN dashboard, which I'll show you a little later as well. And so I'll just show you some screenshots I have here of a walkthrough, kind of going over this process. I'll point out some key features here. And then maybe at the end, after I've shown you these different submission options, I'll do a little demonstration of the agency life quoter and the dashboard. And so for the e-app, these are the approved carriers that we have available on that right now. Most of these have the client e-signature available, though I do want to note that Lincoln does not have e-signature for the client. That one will still need a wet signature, but all these other ones have the e-signature, just so you are aware of that. And so where you access this is from the agency life quoter. The agent will start off by filling the quote criteria and running a quote, and then they'll choose one of the options that has the e-app available and start this process. They'll choose the payment mode for the policy, put their email, and that email will associate it with their account so they can continue later. And then they'll create their own e-signature, which after they've created will save in a cookie so they don't have to keep making new ones each time they do an application. From there, they'll fill out the responsive form, like you see in this screenshot here, going through each of the different sections. And one of the nice things about these forms, like you see here where it says proposed insured, we've entered this once, and then every other part of the form where you need the proposed insured's name, it'll pre-fill it just from entering it that one time. So it'll save you time that way. And so once you've finished this form, I did want to show you what the client sees. You'll be asked to enter your client's information in their email, and then it'll send them a link from their email to do the e-signature for the application. So they'll click on that link in their email, and then they'll be sent to this authentication process where they'll be asked to enter some of the information that was entered in the form just for security purposes. So you'll want to make sure that you've entered their personal information correctly in the form before you send over that authentication. Once they've authenticated, the agent will actually receive an email letting them know that the client has started the process. And I do just want to emphasize that because sometimes I've seen that sometimes agents get confused and think that once they've gotten that email that it's all done. But this is to just let you keep tabs on the client because once they've authenticated, they'll be sent into the e-signature portion where they'll go through each page on the form to review and do a time-stamped e-signature for each of the parts where you need a client signature. And then once they've finished that process, the agent will get another email letting them know it's complete. And so those two emails are helpful to kind of keep tabs on the client. They should come, if all goes well, in pretty quick succession. But if you get your authentication email and then it's been a while and you haven't seen the completed email come through, check with the client because they may not have finished the e-signature process. So that kind of helps you keep tabs to make sure that your client is filling it out correctly. But once they have completed it correctly, both the agent and the admins can receive this completed email notification where they can download the completed form with all the signatures. And they can do this from the email or from the IXN dashboard. They have access to this. And then throughout this process, you may have seen in some of my screenshots that have this like continue later button here. The agent can choose that at any time, and then it saves that application. Well, really it automatically saves once they've started it, but this saved application they can access from the IXN dashboard. So if they've like logged in, have a login for the IXN dashboard or create a login for the IXN dashboard, they can continue from there, which I'll show you here in a little bit. That's the e-application in a nutshell. I'll dig a little deeper into what's capable when I cover the dashboard with the notifications and the e-application section there. But this is a really smooth process to help your agents be able to fill out these long applications, maybe for their more complicated policies, even while we can't all meet in person. And I hope that as they use it, they'll adopt it more and more in just a regular workflow, even when we can meet together today, just because it's it kind of smooths out the process with less paper, which is always nice.
Yeah, so you know, I just want to add a little bit to that, and that you know, we launched this a few months ago, and I think a lot of the BGAs who are using our platform didn't really catch the vision of this in the beginning. You know, it's nice. A lot of you thought, oh yeah, that's nice that it's there, but I'm just going to continue doing what you're doing. Well, now it's kind of forced your hand a little bit, right? So I highly recommend training your agents, getting familiar with this process, making sure you understand how it works, but doing a webinar like this and show your agents how easy it is to run through an application and do it digitally. You don't have to see the client in person. And if you're not utilizing this in the IXN platform, you're missing out because it's a totally digital process. And the agent never has to be in there in person. They can go through the whole thing over the phone. It walks you through all the questions. It lets you know what's required, and you can get a in good order application and send it off to their email to sign it electronically, like a DocuSign. And you never have to go in and map anything. So if you're using DocuSign to do this, or HelloSign, or you know, one of those other ones that are out there, this is you're going through probably and mapping that application and letting them know all the fields that they have to fill out. And that's a pain in the butt. Here it's all done for you. And so so actually someone just said, you guys are referring to your agent. I am a producer with Hub International. How would this apply to me, if at all? So that's a great question. I think Lior, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. So I'm going to answer that here live. And so some of you may be agents. You know, a lot of our customers are BGAs, so we're kind of talking to the BGA here a lot. But if you're an agent and you want to utilize this platform to do your electronic applications and things like that, then talk to your BGA, because a lot of times this is purchased by the BGA and provided to the agents for free, because the agents, you know, the BGA is making some sort of override on the commission. So they're providing these tools. And so with Hub International, I'm not sure, I don't recognize that name, but I'd be happy to talk to them and see if this is something that they want to provide to you. That's usually the way that this is accessed. Now, if you're an agent and you just want to buy it from us, you can definitely buy it from us and utilize it yourself. But usually it's provided by that brokerage. So, so next question here: are there any agent-focused subscriptions? I'm independent. Yes, there are services for agents that we offer, and this particular one is, like I said, purchased by the BGA and provided to the agency. We have a lead generation platform we do for quoting, where we can plug a quote engine right into your website. We have website services. So hopefully that answers your guys' questions. But Lior, if you want to introduce us to Hub International, I'd be happy to chat with them and see if it's a good fit for them to provide to you. But yeah, I mean, this is something that if you have the agency life quoter with IXN, you're getting, this was added to your account for free. And if you don't have it set up, contact Carolyn. She'll help you get it set up. It's no extra cost. You have up to, I think within your account, you have like 35 e-apps that you can do every month at no extra cost. That's included in your package. And then if you go over that, it's just depending on kind of what package you have, but on most people, it's going to be $5 per application, which is, you know, you're just paying for business at that point. So like I said, if you're not utilizing this, put it to use. If you don't have it set up with, and you have the agency life quoter with IXN, that's where it works within the agency life quoter. Contact Carolyn and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, thanks. That's what I was going to say. There's really no downside to just try it out, since the first several completed e-apps are free with your subscription. So yeah, I really encourage everyone to give it a try. Moving on to the shorter applications, those direct and integrated e-tickets we have. We have our integrated e-ticket right now with applicant express complete. So with this process, your agency will have an account with us and also with applicant. And then your agents will also have a registration with applicant, but this allows them to start a quote in our system, pre-fill some of that information into the ticket in applicant, and then continue on in applicant's system to complete that application, which is then processed and sent to the carrier. It's a lot shorter than the long application, so for some of those simpler policies, it's a great solution to take some of the workload out of your hands and just have one smooth process throughout. And there's quite a few carriers that they have available for this e-ticket option. And I just want to go through a few of the visuals here. I've taken my screenshots from a mobile app just because these e-ticket solutions are just a really good solution to use for mobile. They just go together really well because of the simplicity of the process. You can really do it from anywhere. So if you're on the Agency Live Quoter or your mobile app, you can run a quote and then select the carriers that are available for Express Complete. And you can see you have that option there when you get started with that. And then from there, the agent will fill just a little bit of preliminary information about their client and hit submit. From there, depending on how you have it set up, you'll either go to the applicant login screen where the agent will be invited to log in, or if the agency is set up a single sign-on, which we have available for that agent, then they'll bypass that login screen and go straight to the application like you see here. It'll fill in this quote information and any of the relevant information you initially entered, and then you just have to go through a few more pages and complete the application and submit it in applicant system. And then from there, it's processed and sent to the carrier. So it makes it pretty easy to do some of those, like, say like their smaller cases or just ones that they're really familiar with, to get them through the process quickly without a lot of back and forth from the client and the agency. And then, yeah, like I said, they can really be done from anywhere.
So yeah, I want to add a little bit to this. So this process that we built with applicant, once it's set up, it is completely seamless on the mobile side of things. And we kind of show the mobile side of things because it's interesting. We were looking at our ticket counts and quoting counts, and about 75% of our quoting happens on our web platform, our Agency Live Quoter or Quotes API, things like that. 25% of it happened on our mobile devices, but 60% of our tickets are going through mobile devices. So people are doing a lot more comparing and stuff on the desktop, but the tickets are being submitted through mobile more than desktop because the ease of use and how simple this process is. There is a little bit of setup. So once you're set up, an applicant, there's no cost for applicant. It's just, you know, the carriers pay for the tickets. Once you have it set up, when there's a new agent, you just have to set them up with in both systems with what's called a trusted code. I may be stepping on your toes here a little bit, Carolyn, but
That's fine.
basically all I want to say is it's really easy to set up. And as long as you start it off correctly, it is completely seamless for the agent, and they can go through, submit a ticket. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, because we're going to talk about strategy later. But this is a great way to pitch PNC agencies or financial advisors who maybe their main business isn't life, but they want a simple process to just submit the ticket and be done with it, right? And so I highly recommend utilizing this, not just for the efficiency side of things, but also for the recruiting aspect of it. I mean, it's a really powerful tool and can really differentiate your message to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that too. I know sometimes it can be a little bit of confusing just getting set up, but once it is set up, it is actually a pretty smooth process for quite a few carriers. I don't have a list right here, but I think about 8 or 9 carriers. But another really great process that I really rave about, this is the one Lasso was talking about, how we had our award-winning e-ticket process with Protective, with that innovation, People's Choice Innovation Award with LIDMA. This one is also available on the Agency Life Quoter and the mobile app. And it's really the smoothest, fastest process out there to submit a ticket to a carrier. It's native, so it's the same like smooth interface on your mobile app or on your Agency Life Quoter as the rest of the system. And it goes directly into Protective's underwriting system. So there's not like shuffling information between multiple parties. And I'll just show you the next screen is pretty much the whole process, again, showing it on mobile app because it's really, they really go really well together. So you're just entering some proposed insured information, which again, it'll pre-fill some of this information from the quote you ran. It'll have some responsive questions about the owner of the policy. You can add or remove as many in-force policies as is relevant. And then again, your agent information, which will be pre-filled from your sign up for the mobile app. And then that's it. Within seconds of submitting, it's in Protective's hands. So this is available for brokerages that are contracted directly with Protective. They can set up this with their agents. And another great thing about it is that like say somebody outside your agency downloads this app and they try to submit this, you can only get credit for, I mean, they'll reach out to you to make sure that they have the correct contract information, make sure that agent's contracted with your agency. So it's not like an agent can submit business for another agency through your app. It's all going to be through you. And so I really like this process and encourage everyone who does work with Protective to give it a try, because there really isn't anything better out there for submitting applications right now. And especially like he was mentioning with like, I've seen people using this like specifically for mortgage protection or just those really simple processes for maybe agents that aren't as familiar with life. It's a really good solution.
And I'll add to this. I actually, so Protective, you can go to the Protective website and submit a ticket, right? Or some other platform. But I was talking to some of the Protective folks over there, and they said that these policies that are going through our platform are getting written faster than even the policies through the their own website. So it's an easier process to submit it. You can do it from anywhere in less than 5 minutes, and they're getting written really fast. A lot of them are ending up in accelerated underwriting. It is eligible for that. I don't know what their percentage is these days. I know before COVID, I think they were at about 25% of their applications ended up in accelerated, but it could be different. They may have loosened up their the restrictions. So with COVID, we're actually going to be having a webinar with Protective here in a couple weeks to talk a little bit about how they're responding to it and this process. So keep an eye out for that invite as well. We'll have some of the folks at Protective on our webinar with us. So, but yeah, I mean, this is, what's cool is, you know, for the carriers that are with applicant, you can have those in there. For the carriers that are with, or for like Protective and others that are coming, we have 4 or 5 other carriers that are in the queue for a similar type of process. So keep an eye out for that. But this is a really, really quick, easy, fast way to submit business.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no additional setup, which is kind of nice. Like with applicant, you do have to set up each user on both systems. Whereas with this, once they have an account in the mobile app, as long as they're contracted, they can submit business.
Mm-hmm.
They can even submit it. Actually, they can even submit it if they're not contracted, except for the state of Pennsylvania, because they're a pre-approval state or something. And so but then you'll get a notification to get them contracted if they go through that.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say before, but you said it a lot better than I did. And then, okay, so that's our integrations that we have that are good submission solutions. But if you have some other options that we didn't have listed here, that's where quote actions come in. This is really the way to make our tools with us really versatile and fit exactly to your needs. In this screenshot I have here, all of these boxes here are different quote actions. So you could link to like a carrier website, like some of those carriers that have like a web e-application on their website. Like I know Lincoln has one of those. Or if you have your own in-house forms, you can build a custom form that pre-fills with information and have that submit from here. Or really any other link that you would want to use as a resource during this process. You can.
Let me give a little background on where this lives. So just so you all know kind of what, if you haven't used the agency life quoter and seen this area, once you get to the quote results, there's a get started button on every quote on the right side. As you mouse over each quote card, it's a little button pops up that says get started. If you click that get started button, this pops up. So basically this is built right into your quote engine. So once they get to the quote results, if they want to get started with something, actually start writing some business, they click that button and whatever you want to appear in this box is there. So I just wanted, sorry, Carolyn, to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure that for those that haven't used our platform regularly, know where these quote actions live. And this is something that nobody else, at least from what I've seen, nobody else does this. Allows you to customize it. You can customize the quote action by carrier and all the way down to by product. So if you want a different action for their carrier's GUL products versus their term, you can customize that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I probably will show just briefly what he was describing there, just to reinforce where this lives. And really, like those e-ticket and e-app solutions would all fall under this quote action as well. And you can customize those even further. And so when this is just a view of managing them in the dashboard, you can create multiple quote actions. For the agency life quoter, you can have multiple actions for even the same carrier or product. So you can really fine tune it down to exactly what your company needs, your usual workflows, showing one setting up. So these are all the options that you have for your e-tickets, for your e-apps, for any third-party forms that you're using, or custom URLs that you may have available to you. You can choose your own label. So if you're like calling it like a Snap app or a drop ticket, you can label your actions according to your own branding, and then set the display order. So you see like the ones that are most important to you first and then on to the others. And like he was saying, you can limit it by carrier. If it's only for certain products for that carrier, you can limit by product. And then we just added this recently. If you only want it to apply to certain face amounts, you can set a minimum and a maximum face amount for that quote action, so that the quote action only displays in the quote results for those really specific parameters.
Well, I need to read our release notes. I didn't even know that we released that. That's cool.
Yeah, that was like last week that we added that, so it's brand new.
Okay, so that's cool, because so a use case for that is, let's say you don't want full application options for up to $500,000 face amount. You can have just e-tickets show up for those face amounts, and for the larger face amounts, allow them to do a full application, right? Is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Super cool. I didn't know that was added. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, so I hope people take advantage of that, so that they are kind of like pushing the e-tickets for those smaller cases, so that there's less work for the agency on those smaller cases.
Yeah. Another use case for this, guys, is let's say there's a carrier on here that we don't have an electronic process with, and we quote them, but maybe they have an electronic process where they can share a link with you that you send your agents to. You can put that link right in the quote results. So you can customize, hey, if this is a principal, for example, and we don't have, I know we have an e-app with them, but I don't think we have a ticket. If you want to link over to their ticket on their website, you can link out that way. So that's one way you can utilize this. You can have both there. So if we have a process, but they also have a process, and you want to give your agents the option, you make it all available. And what's nice is it's all there consolidated into one place. So that way, it's not like they have to go out to your website now, find the link over to applicant for this carrier. Oh, now I need to go to LinkedIn, so I got to go find this. Or, oh, next one I'm doing with Cincinnati Life, and which one's that? It's all just, I run a quote. They can see what actions are available for each one, and you can customize that. There's a question here from Jeffrey. He says, can it be set up so the e-ticket solution can be started by our BGA administrators on behalf of an agent who is not good with technology? That's a great question. Do you know the answer to that, Carolyn?
Well, I have actually seen that use case come up where they'll have case managers running applications, and because you can access it from the dashboard, really both the agent and your case manager can both have access to like an Eve application.
So Jeff, you want to set it up? Well, Jeff, let's talk offline a little more about that, and we can try to get that, try to help you with that use case. Happy to chat with you about that. But it sounds like you can. I just want to make sure I understand correctly what you want to do. So we'll talk more offline afterwards, but I think we can do that.
Yeah, I actually was about to show the dashboard section, so maybe I can explain a little bit more to show who has access to what. And I have some slides here, but maybe I'll just go straight into like a screen share showing the dashboard here. But this is a really useful tool for your admins, for your agents using the e-app solution. And because it gives you informational access to the e-apps and the e-tickets. You can set up your notifications here, you can manage your members, and you can view some analytics all from the dashboard. And this is included with all of your IXN products. So I'll actually switch over to, where's the other dashboard? Oh, I lost it.
Well, while she's getting that up, if any of you need help, I can show the list here in a bit, but if any of you have questions about which carriers are available for e-apps versus e-tickets, let us know, reach out to us afterwards. I'm happy to send you a list. We have a list. I'll show that list here in a minute once I take back screen sharing control. But if any of you want to just feel free to chat in. I'll send it to you, or you can also, we'll include both mine and Carolyn's contact information at the end of the webinar. And so feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to share that with you. Sounds like you're all set?
Yes, I have two dashboards open to show the difference between what an admin can see and what an agent can see, and I was just keep getting to the wrong one.
Okay.
But here I have so a dashboard from admin point of view. This is where they can see and manage pretty much all of your IXN products, including those e-apps and those e-tickets that I was showing you before. Here in this e-apps section, the admins can see all of the e-tickets that all of their agents have submitted and kind of where they are on the process. Since this is our demo platform, we have a lot of started ones, but you see these ones with a green check mark. Those are completed. These ones are in some stage of filling out the form. This one's in the agent signature section. So you can view any of those applications that your agents have started. So they could like start one, say, oh, I don't know everything, I'm kind of intimidated, I'll continue later. Then your case manager can go in and fill out this information. I suppose in the case that if you have an agent that's uncomfortable with technology. but I'm hoping that this process is easy enough that they'll at least give it a try. And so anything that you enter here, it auto saves. So we can like put in a driver's license and a state, and that'll save. And then if I went over to like the agent view, so this is the same dashboard, but just an agent. So they can only view their own applications and e-tickets from here, as well as access to anything that you've given them access. So if I go into that same e-app that I was looking at as an admin, I can see that driver's license and state that the admin had entered. And so you can work together with your agent back and forth to make sure you're completing their forms properly, since you both can see and save progress on it. And again, so the agent will see the e-apps and the e-tickets that they've done through the system. Speaking of e-tickets, I'll cover what use this is here.
So I do want to, let me jump in. So Jeff, you had that question earlier, if you could start and stop or start it for them. And it looks like, yeah, you can here from within the dashboard. Another use case that can happen is at any point the agent can say, I want to pick up where I left off. So if they're halfway through the e-app and the customer gets a call from the kid's school and they have to go pick up their kid or something like that, then you can click on, pick up where I left off. It saves it in the dashboard. It sends them a link to go in and pick up where they left off. But then you as well, you can even, so one strategy some agencies use is they use their staff as almost like a call center on behalf of their agents. So you could call up the agent and be like, hey, I saw that you started an e-app, but you got halfway through, and they can say, oh yeah, the customer had to leave or something like that, and we said we'd finish it later. You could say, hey, I'd be happy to call them for you and get the information over the phone, and send it off for signature. So that's one way you could utilize it. There's a lot of direct marketers that have call centers and things like that. That's how they utilize it. Is they use it as almost like a call center software. So there are different ways you can approach this. So it can be the agent starts it and you pick it up, you start it, the agent goes in and you coordinate on it. Look, there's different ways that you can approach it. We've tried to make it flexible so you can use it however it works best for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's the advantage of kind of giving your agents access to the dashboard, is for that back and forth, that collaborative on these e-applications.
And if you have our mobile app, it's the same login on the dashboard that they're using to log into their mobile app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's kind of the managing e-apps from the dashboard. You can also view a log of all the e-tickets and the status on those that are in your system. So either they're sent or they're new or there was an error, so you can check on those. This one is not editable from the dashboard, but it is a log of events, so you can know how to like follow up on information. If you click on any one of them, you can view the information if you need to, say if you needed to suddenly do it through another avenue or things like that, or view where it come from, which agent. You can view a log of this information from here. But for more information, if it's from applicant, I would check applicant system, and then protective, you should have all the information there protective should have all the information for the sent ones. And so that's where you can look at a log of information for your e-tickets. And for all of these, all of the features, you can set up notification triggers. Well, actually, maybe I'll just show you really quick where to manage your quote actions. That'll be for your specific products. Product by product, you can set up those quote actions. So you say here some of the quote actions we set up. And so you can have different ones for your Agency Life Quoter and your mobile app if you're using those two platforms differently. And then for all of these, you can manage the notifications for those in really flexible ways. Going to the notifications triggers section of our dashboard. Here you can see where we've set up all of the notifications and how we want to receive them. If I want to do a new notification, you can set up a name for it. That'll be the subject line for what thing in our system that you want the notification for. So if it's like an e-ticket or the e-app, you want to know members that are signing up, things like that. You can set them for specific products. And then this is new as well, the delivery method. Typically, we've had the responses go to email, but you can now set those up to go to a web call as well. So if you have a web address that's prepared to receive the information being sent from these applications, you can send them as well. So I think that's useful if you have, say, like a CRM that's set up to receive information like that. You can set that up. And so this is a really flexible way you can manage what notifications you receive and who receives them. You can set them up by email or say just everyone who has an admin role. It's a really flexible system so that you're staying on top of what you want to be notified of. That's about it for me. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen and we can talk more about how to really implement all of what I've shown you today.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to share my screen here again. Let's see, share. All right, so let's talk a little bit about strategy. So this is where we're happy to, so Jen, our marketing rep here, is going to watch all the attendees, and if any of you want to chime in and have questions or have not questions, I'm sorry, if you have strategies that have worked for you that you would like to share, just there's a little button there where you can raise your hand, and then we can turn on your audio, or you can just chat it in to our chat there. Happy to take a look at it that way as well. But there's several different strategies, and we actually ended up talking about a few of them here within the platform. So ways to, there's different things we can talk about. There's strategies of how to get agents to use it. There's strategies for how to use it as a recruiting tool. And so, we could probably spend a whole webinar on just strategy here around how to use digital application. But really, I've seen a couple different ways. One of our agencies, what they did was they went out and they've recruited young college students to go out and sell life insurance door to door. And they use our mobile app platform along with our ticket platform to sell on the doorstep. So it's one way to kind of pitch it. Obviously, with what's going on right now with COVID-19, that's probably not the way that people are going to be selling. Another strategy is to almost turn your BGA into kind of a direct marketer type solution, where you are the support backbone for your agents. What you can do is, one strategy is to use our website quoter to generate leads. So help the agents provide a website quoter for them. It generates a lead, and then you take that lead, call them, and act as a call center for that agent and fill out the application. You do the whole thing digitally. You never have to touch paper. That's another way to utilize the platform and utilize these electronic processes as a strategy for your agency. Carolyn, do you have any that you've seen be successful, or any strategies that have worked for some of our customers that you've talked to?
I do have one example that I can think of right now with the mobile app and those e-tickets. Since I work a lot with the clients on those, I've found that a lot of agencies using the mobile app that have those e-tickets will actually limit the carriers available on the mobile app down to just those ones that they do have those quick solutions for, so that when the agent's running quotes, they don't have so much indecision about which to choose. They know that whatever they choose on the mobile app will be a fast solution for their agents, and I've seen better adoption that way as well.
Gotcha. Okay. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways to utilize this. I've seen agencies who, what they did was they use this as a recruiting tool. They go out, and when they talk to agents, they show the mobile app, or they create like a card with their mobile app on it, and they go to NAFA events and hand out these cards and say, download my free app. They do email marketing campaigns that might be a little more feasible for the current times, but focused on your digital processes and the availability of that on your platform. The ability to work from anywhere, the ability to submit. There was a couple people who chatted in and said, hey, I'm an agent. How do I utilize this? So they want more digital processes. So if you're not, I don't mean to say take advantage of the current situation, but if you have these digital processes, now is the time to let your agents know, because a lot of them are looking for it. And if another BGA does a better job of letting them know that they can do this with them, you might lose that agent or their business to that other BGA. So make sure you're getting the word out. Do these webinars, do trainings, things like that on how to utilize the platform and what's available there. So we're pretty much out of time. So we're gonna open it up here to any other questions that you guys have. Feel free to chat in any questions, or provide some Q&A, or ask them in our question and answer section there. And we're happy to answer any questions you guys have at this time. And so I'll provide our contact information here. This is our direct contact information that you see on the screen for myself and for Carolyn. So current customers, contact Carolyn. For if you're adding a new product to, let's say you have a mobile app, but you want the web platform so you can do the e-apps as well, you contact me for new products, but Carolyn for current products. Or let's say you have our agency life portal and you want to add the e-app solution to it, you haven't got that set up, that's Carolyn. So there's our contact information, and we'll try to answer any questions you guys have. So chat. It doesn't look like there's any other questions. We tried to answer them kind of as we went. So doesn't look like any are coming in. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to call it good there, since there's no more questions, and hope everyone stays safe. Carolyn, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Jen, for coordinating this and getting it all set up. One last plug for our upcoming webinar next week on Tuesday. We're going to be doing our webinar from home webinar. So how to run webinars. So we're going to be giving some feedback on how to do that, showing you guys some platforms that we like and what's available, and kind of how to approach it, how to get people there, how to get, how to make sure the technology works, all those types of things. So thank you all for joining us, and like I said, hope everyone's staying safe, and keep up the good fight, and thanks for watching.